everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm back in the kitchen and I have another bake with me video for you. So today I've decided to make pumpkin spiced cupcakes with cinnamon icing. So again, I have the recipe on my phone, and if you wanted to make this at home, what you need is 2 1/4 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, half a teaspoon of ground nutmeg, half a teaspoon of ground ginger, half a teaspoon of ground cloves, half a teaspoon of ground allspice, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda, half a cup of butter, 1/3 cup of brown sugar, 2 large eggs, 3/4 cup of milk, and 1 cup of pumpkin puree. So that is for the cakes themselves, and then for the icing you need 75 grams of butter, 175 grams of icing sugar, 1 to 2 tablespoons of milk or warm water, and then a teaspoon of cinnamon. So as you can see, I have everything here I need. I've got my trays. I also have a NutriBullet just because I'm not sure if you can buy pumpkin puree like out of a tin. So I bought a pumpkin and I'm going to try and make the puree myself. So the first step is preheat the oven. I'm not going to do that just yet. And then also grease the muffin trays or line with the paper cases. And I have some green spotty cases. I thought they just looked quite cute, and also they could pass as Halloween cases, I guess. So yeah, I'm gonna line my trays with these. So I have 1 tray of 12 and then 2 of 6. So the ingredients I read out was meant to make 24 cakes. So fingers crossed it will make that many. Okay, so my trays are lined. I'm just gonna pop them to the side. So it's 2 1/4 cups of flour. So here is my cinnamon. Right, I think that'll do. Next is ginger, and for ginger it's just half a teaspoon. I'd say that is enough. Next up is nutmeg, and that is just half a teaspoon as well. Whoa, that wasn't half a teaspoon. Take some of that back in. There we go. Next up is cloves, and again just half a teaspoon. And then lastly for the spices, it's some allspice, and again half a teaspoon. Now I need to add the baking soda and baking powder. So it's half a teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 tablespoon of baking powder. So I'm just gonna mix that together a little. It smells very spicy. Right, so we're all mixed in. Now it says set aside. So the next thing I'm going to do is attempt to make the pumpkin puree, as you need the pumpkin puree for step 2. So, right. Let's just cut it open to start with. Don't come at me if I'm using the wrong knife either, because I don't really know what knife I'm supposed to be using. just know to cut away from myself, because that's what my parents always told me. As you can see, I'm not the best at carving a pumpkin. If you would like to see a carving pumpkin video, then let me know and I might consider doing one. Unless this is enough for you. So, I'm just gonna slice all of that off of here. Okay, so his hat is off. Now to empty this. Okay, so I got most of it out. There's still a few seeds in there, but I'm just literally going to cut it in half a minute. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut this in half again. And now, I'm going to try and get some of the skin off. So I'm going to cut this a little smaller. I don't think you realise how hard this pumpkin is. Okay, so it's now time to attempt to blend this pumpkin up to see if it will make a puree. I'm not sure if this will work, but I'm hoping so. I'm thinking I might add a little bit of milk in there. I think we have our puree. So I'm just going to set that to the side now. So next I need to add half a cup of butter and then the sugars into my electric mixer to then mix. That will probably be too much. So I've got my half a cup of butter. I'm going to pop it straight into my mixer. Next up is white sugar, and you need 1 cup of white sugar. So I've got 1 cup of white sugar. Again, I'm going to pop that straight in. And then it's 1/3 cup of brown sugar. I do have some left over in the older bag that I'm going to use first. Cool, that might be enough actually. And then I've got my 1/3 cup of brown sugar, and I'm going to pop that straight in as well. So now it's time to mix these together. It now says to add my 2 eggs, which I'm going to crack into a cup again. Whoops, we overflowed a little bit then. So now I'm going to pop the eggs into this bowl as well. And again, I'm going to mix this together. So now I have to add 3/4 cup of milk. So I'm just going to estimate that. Now the last thing to do is add all of my powdered ingredients. So the flour, baking soda, baking powder, and all of the spices. So I'm just going to pop that in. And now I have to mix that up. So I have finished mixing. So the cake mixture is all done and it tastes and smells so nice. All that's left to do now is fill up these cake cases. So now all the cakes are in their cases. All I have to do now is pop them in the oven and then I can start on the icing. So the first thing you need is 1/3 of a cup of butter. So I have heated that butter up slightly, so I'm just going to pour that into the bowl now. And now I need 1 cup of icing sugar. So there's 1 cup, in that goes. I'm just going to mix this together now. What I'm going to do now is just add a teaspoon of cinnamon and mix that in. So the icing is all done. All I have to do now is wait for the cakes to cool down and then I can pop it on top. So we finally got there. And here are my finished pumpkin spiced cupcakes with cinnamon icing. And that is everything for this video. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, I'd love it if you could give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next one.